Join me as I dive into the mystery of school lunches and challenge myself to find out what's really inside them. Let's be honest, we've all heard the horror stories about school lunches, the tales of unappetizing meals that make kids cringe and parents worry. The soggy vegetables, the mysterious meats, the pizza that seems more like cardboard than food. These are not just urban legends, they are the unfortunate reality for many students. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos on food supply. Sadly, for many kids across America, these stories aren't exaggerated, they're a daily reality. Every day, students face the challenge of finding something edible on their lunch trays. Open up a typical school lunch tray in the US and you might find yourself playing a guessing game. What is this food supposed to be? Is it nutritious? Is it even safe to eat? What exactly is that rectangular patty? Is it chicken, pork, beef, or some mysterious combination? The lack of transparency and quality is alarming. And then there are the sides. Often they're a sea of beige and brown limp French fries, overcooked pasta, and canned fruit swimming in sugary syrup. These sides do little to excite the palate or provide nutritional value. It's no wonder that many kids end up trading their lunches or simply tossing them in the trash. The food is unappealing and often inedible, leading to wasted meals and hungry students. The truth is, what we're feeding our children in schools is failing them. These meals are not just unappetizing, they are unhealthy and inadequate for growing bodies and minds. It's failing their health, their education, and their future. Poor nutrition can lead to a host of problems, including difficulty concentrating, lower academic performance, and long-term health issues. We're serving up a system where processed foods reign supreme, fresh fruits and vegetables are a rarity, and real cooking is often absent from the equation. This reliance on processed foods is detrimental to our children's well-being. It's time for a wake-up call. Parents, educators, and policymakers need to come together to demand better for our children. We need to prioritize their health and future by providing nutritious, appealing meals. We need to take a hard look at what's inside school lunches and demand better for our children. It's not just about filling their stomachs, it's about nourishing their bodies and minds for a brighter future. The change won't happen overnight, but with collective effort and determination, we can transform school lunches into something our children look forward to, rather than dread. Let's make school lunches a source of pride, not a cause for concern. Together, we can ensure that every child has access to healthy, delicious meals that support their growth, learning, and overall well-being. The time for change is now. Let's break it down, shall we? School lunches have become a topic of much debate and concern over the years. What exactly are our kids eating every day? The typical American school lunch menu reads like a greatest hits list of processed foods. It's a lineup that many of us are all too familiar with. Chicken nuggets, pizza, burgers, hot dogs, corn dogs. These are the staples that fill countless lunch trays day after day. They are the go-to options that schools rely on to feed the masses. And while these items might seem appealing to some kids, especially those bombarded with junk food advertising, they're often a far cry from nutritious. The bright packaging and catchy jingles make these foods seem like the best choice, but the reality is quite different. These processed favorites are usually loaded with salt, sugar, unhealthy fats, and artificial ingredients, leaving little room for the good stuff growing kids need. Vitamins, minerals, and other essential nutrients are often missing in action. Take those ubiquitous chicken nuggets, for example. They are a prime example of how convenience often trumps quality. Often they contain more breading and fillers than actual meat. The meat that is present is usually highly processed and far from fresh. And don't even get me started on the questionable origins of that meat. The journey from farm to tray is often shrouded in mystery, with many steps that can compromise quality. Then there's the pizza, a lunchtime favorite that often disappoints. What should be a delicious treat is often anything but. Soggy crusts, bland cheese, and processed toppings are the norm, leaving kids feeling unsatisfied and craving more. The promise of a tasty slice often falls flat. The problem is, these heavily processed foods are cheap, convenient, and shelf-stable, making them an easy choice for schools operating on tight budgets and limited resources. But at what cost? The long-term health implications for our children are significant. Poor nutrition can lead to a host of issues, from obesity to diabetes, and even affect academic performance. So, what can be done? Schools need to prioritize healthier options, even if they come at a higher cost. Fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins should be the new staples. Programs that involve kids in growing and preparing their own food can also make a big difference. When children understand where their food comes from and how it's made, they're more likely to make healthier choices. It's also crucial for parents and community members to advocate for better school lunch programs. Change won't happen overnight, but with persistent effort, we can ensure that our kids are getting the nutrition they need to thrive. The usual suspects of school lunches don't have to be the norm. With a collective effort, we can transform school cafeterias into places where healthy, delicious meals are the standard, not the exception. Now let's take a trip across the globe, shall we? In many developed countries, school lunches are viewed not just as a necessity but as an opportunity, a chance to nourish young minds and bodies with fresh, flavorful, and culturally diverse meals. In France, for instance, school lunches are treated like a multi-course affair, often featuring fresh salads, homemade soups, baked chicken or fish, and seasonal fruits and vegetables. And in Japan, school lunches are carefully planned to provide a balance of nutrition and flavor, with meals often including rice, miso soup, grilled fish, and pickled vegetables. These countries recognize that investing in healthy school meals isn't just about filling bellies, it's about investing in the future. When children are properly nourished, they're better able to learn, grow, and thrive. So why is America lagging behind? Why are we content to serve our children a steady diet of processed junk when other countries are prioritizing fresh, wholesome foods? It's time for us to step up our game and give our kids the nourishment they truly deserve. Believe it or not, the American school lunch program wasn't always a processed food free-for-all. In fact, its origins are deeply rooted in a genuine concern for the health and well-being of children across the nation. It actually has roots in a genuine concern for children's well-being. The story begins in the late 19th century, a time when malnutrition and hunger were rampant among poor children in urban areas. Social reformers and educators began to recognize the critical need for school-based meal programs to address these issues. Back in the late 19th century, when malnutrition and hunger were rampant among poor children, social reformers began recognizing the need for school-based meal programs. These reformers were often driven by a combination of compassion and a desire to improve educational outcomes, as hungry children struggled to focus and learn. These early efforts were often locally driven, with charitable organizations and concerned citizens stepping up to provide children with basic nourishment. Community soup kitchens and volunteer-run programs became the first iterations of what would eventually evolve into a national initiative. Then, in 1946, the National School Lunch Act was passed, establishing the National School Lunch Program, NSLP, as a permanent, federally funded program. This landmark legislation was signed into law by President Harry S. Truman, marking a significant step forward in the fight against childhood hunger and malnutrition. The goal was to safeguard the health and well-being of America's children and ensure that all students, regardless of their socioeconomic background, had access to nutritious meals. The program aimed to provide balanced meals that included essential nutrients, helping children grow and thrive both physically and academically. In the early decades of the NSLP, there was a greater emphasis on serving fresh, minimally processed foods. School kitchens were often bustling with activity as cooks prepared meals from scratch, using locally sourced ingredients whenever possible. This approach not only supported local farmers but also ensured that children received wholesome, nutritious meals. School kitchens were often bustling with activity as cooks prepared meals from scratch, using locally sourced ingredients whenever possible. The focus was on providing meals that were not only filling, but also rich in vitamins and minerals, essential for the healthy development of young minds and bodies. But over time, a shift occurred. As the decades passed, the landscape of school meals began to change. The pressures of cost-effectiveness and efficiency started to take precedence over the original mission of providing fresh, nutritious food. As concerns about cost-effectiveness and efficiency grew, there was a gradual move towards incorporating more processed and pre-packaged foods into school lunch programs. This shift was driven by the need to feed a growing number of students quickly and affordably, but it came at the expense of meal quality. This shift was further fueled by the rise of industrial agriculture and the increasing availability of cheap, mass-produced food products. Large-scale food manufacturers began to dominate the market, offering schools convenient, ready-to-eat options that required minimal preparation. And so, the American School Lunch Program, once rooted in a commitment to providing children with wholesome, nourishing meals, gradually transformed into a system where convenience and cost-cutting often trumped quality and nutrition. Today, efforts are being made to return to the program's original mission, with initiatives aimed at incorporating more fresh, locally sourced ingredients and reducing the reliance on processed foods. The journey of school meals in America is a testament to the ongoing struggle to balance practicality with the health and well-being of our children. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos on food supply.